before we start, are you going to be fighting for a UFC title one day?
One day.
Yeah.
That's on the plan. One day, but no rush.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the right answer. I like to have a little bit of manifestation going on sometimes because a lot of my guests have gone on to do great things. We have Ebony
Yeah.
Bridges. Called it. She became the IBF junior bantamweight world champion. Mr. Montana Love, manifested a couple of things. He just was the co-main on a Canelo fight. So, love to see the great things happen. Cool. So get the notes right here. Right. Corner Talk, we're back. And today we are joined by Invicta Strawweight champion, Emily Ducote. Emily just got a UFC contract. It doesn't happen too often that like the UFC ends up signing the people from other organizations that I really think should be there. But like when they signed you, I was like, man, all the messages I got from other fighters and people that you've trained with as well, or like, yeah, man, everyone had the same thing. Like it's been a long time coming. It should have happened a long time ago. Like, do you agree with that?
Yeah, so I have had like a lot of fights. So I've got, a lot of experience and I fought in a bunch of shows. So I do feel like, there's been a few moments in my career, in my Invicta career that I felt like I could have gone. But I'm really excited that, I've been picked now because I did get a lot, I've got 5 Invicta fights. I was able to get the belt and defend it. So I'm really glad I was able to do those things. So do I think it's been, a long time coming? Yes, I definitely feel like I deserve to be there, but I am excited that I was able to get all those fights in, get all that experience. And now I feel really good and ready to go.
Right. Yeah. So do you think the title defense is something you had to check off the list?
Yeah. I thought maybe I would get called up after, I got the title, but I'm happy to have been able to defend it. A lot of people are like, if you don't defend the belt, it's kind of not the same. So I'm really glad I was able to get the belt, defend the belt, and now, make my move to the UFC. And it was like a goal. I really did want to defend it. So I'm glad I was able to do that. A lot of the Invicta girls that got the belt kind of went straight over, which is awesome. But, I ended up there, so I'm happy for it.
And speaking of other Invicta girls, I mean, to me, some of the top talent that I'm a fan of, like Alexa Grasso, Irene Aldana, like those people, for me, are like top echelon, right? But I think you coming in are more well-rounded than they were coming in to the UFC.
I do attribute that to a lot of the experience. I've never said no to a fight, so whoever they've offered, I've accepted, and that gave me a lot of lessons to learn. If I won or if I lost those fights, I got so much experience. So I fought a lot of really high level people, and I'm really excited for that experience. And I hope to be well-rounded, and I hope to showcase that.
Yeah. And let's be real. I mean, you played it cool, but what was your actual reaction to signing the UFC contract or being offered the UFC contract?
Yeah, I'm really, really excited. I'm still excited about it. It was a goal, and it took a long time to get there, a lot of success and failure to get there. So I was really, really happy, very excited to finally be able to sign with them and, have a fight scheduled already. A lot of the time you'll see girls go in and they'll have like a short notice fight, or you'll have like a really long camp. So this for me is perfect timing. 6 weeks was not too short, not too much. I feel really good about that timeline that I had.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you would have rather had a longer timeline or if the short term is better because you get right into it,
Yeah, so I fought in May, so this 6 weeks was perfect for me. I feel like it was a continuation of my last camp. Had 2 weeks off, was able to relax and kind of do whatever I wanted, and then it just jumped right back into it. So I don't really like a big layoff, so this was perfect. And I really also don't like super long camps. I just feel like sometimes it's too long. You're just sitting there kind of waiting forever. So this was really great timing.
Yeah, it's the thing with peaking at the right time and stuff like that, right? Does that
Right.
play a role as well? Yeah. I mean, so I often listen to interviews of fighters I'm gonna interview just because I don't want to end up asking all the same questions. Some of them you have to get out of the way and stuff. But I don't think people have asked you where your passion for fighting or what drew you to fighting in the first place. Because it looks like you've been doing combat sports and all kinds of combat sports for such a long time. What drew you to the violence?
It's kind of funny. It's been like a continuation of things, just kind of like a buildup. But when I was a kid, my grandparents used to watch the UFC. And so
Wow.
I just remember being, at their house and just watching the UFC, and my grandma, especially, but my grandparents, both of them. But my grandma is just super feisty. She's a feisty woman, just really wild, really crazy. And she just loved it. She was obsessed with Uriah Faber, the California Kid, everything.
Mm.
And so they would watch it, and they really wanted me to be able to defend myself. So they convinced my parents to sign me up for Taekwondo as a kid. So, martial arts as a kid. And I just immediately loved the structure and routine, like just the type of person I am forever, even as a kid, just like routine, structure, having a schedule, a strict schedule, everything was just really great for me. So I started in Taekwondo, and I eventually transitioned into high school wrestling, did a little bit of college wrestling. Didn't really like, more so the school aspect, but I just wasn't happy with everything. So I decided to stop that and ended up finding the gym in Oklahoma, and I never looked back. I've been with my coach for 8 years. He's been in my corner since my amateur debut, and he'll be in my corner for the rest of my career.
That's amazing, that loyalty, and it's working out. I mean, you figured something out. And whoever, I don't know, like I've been watching you for at least the last 3 fights. I've really paid attention, and it looks like you came from kickboxing. To be honest with you, like that's. But do you? So when you're training, like when you're preparing for a fight like this, is it like, do you focus more on like the things that you need to strengthen in your own game and trying to implement your own game, or is it more like being reactive towards the opponent in front of you?
Yeah, more so in my recent fights in the last couple of years, I've really put the focus on myself. And I feel like that has been one of the reasons why I've been having so much success. And I watch my opponent. I am aware of my opponent, but I'm not focusing on them. It's the stuff of myself, my strong game, even my weak game is what I'm focusing on. So I'm really focusing on myself, getting everything sharp, getting all my, strategy for the fight really, really tied up. And so I feel really good focusing on myself and not so much focusing on my opponent. Not to say I don't watch them or I don't study them or I don't,
Mm-hmm.
see what they like to do in the fights, but I'm just not focused on it. I'm not going to fight reactive. I'm not going to fight defensive. So I'm just really focusing on myself, getting everything sharp.
And have you always been so calm, like methodical? Because that's the real thing that stands out for me in your game, is like you don't rush, you don't like, you just take your time. It's still exciting because you end up finding some great shots, like your pinpoint accuracy and stuff. Like, what is that something that came after, like later on, or is that something you've always tried to work on? And what kind of mental energy does it take? What kind of mental training does it take to be that patient?
Yeah, it's definitely, I kind of feel like it's a result of kind of the kind of person I am. I just do better when I am calm and focused, as opposed to, you'll see all types of different fighters. Some people like to be amped up. Some people like to, get smacked right before you go out and just get everything like super quick and whatever. And I'm curious, I always like to see those type of fighters, but for me, it's definitely the focus is of being calm and patient. And I feel like the last few years, I've really been able to get to that calmness that allows me to just be right in the fight. And so I have like a great team, and they know exactly who I am as like a person and a fighter. So you have to have people that understand that and know how to coach that, because not everyone, there's so many different types of fighters. So I definitely am a calm fighter. I want to be calm, and I've really felt very calm and patient and focused in my last few fights. So that's definitely something that's been a long time to get to this point, but I do feel really good now.
Yeah, because so the resurgence really came after like a 3-fight losing streak, right, in Bellator. And like, what kind of conversation did you have to have with yourself at that point? How did you feel about that? And what do you think is that the biggest factor that sort of changed your game and, got you this resurgence sort of?
Yeah. Bellator, I had 8 fights for them. I was fighting up a weight class at 125. So that was definitely, something that affected some of those fights. Not I'm not everything, but there was a lot of, I was young and there was a lot of mental growing that needed to happen mentally, physically, technique wise, everything. I was really young in my career. I regret nothing with Bellator. I loved fighting for them, 8 fights. But I definitely need to be at 115. So I went up, I didn't cut any weight at Bellator, and I just was getting a lot of experience. I didn't understand the game as well as I understand it now. Now I really understand the game entirely. So I definitely, after those fights, took a step back, needed to see what was going on, make some decisions. And from there, we really rebuilt. We were able to get released from Bellator because they do not have a 115. I think they should do that because that's a really great division. But yeah, so we were able to be released, was able to get a little bit of experience outside, and then sign with Shannon. And Shannon, I could just go on and on about how great she is, how much I respect that she runs the show, not to build a show, but to build the fighters. She matches them up for skill and technique, and not to build certain people or to build media or anything like that. So Shannon is amazing, amazing. She wants the fighters to grow. She wants them to be challenged. She wants you to be your best self. And that's why you'll see a lot of Invicta girls really successful in whatever promotion they then went to. So I really have high respect for Shannon, and I feel like, I was able to rebuild myself. I figured out how I needed to fight. You need to understand yourself to understand how to be successful. So I've done a lot of growing, and I'm older now. I'm not old, but I'm older now. So I kind of understand the game, and really happy with where I am now.
Yeah. So, well, is that, are those conversations you have with Shannon as well? Like, about self-promotion maybe, or like, because it seems like exactly like the Invicta is obviously like it's turning into this feeder league. It's feeding great talent to other organizations and stuff like that. Like, are these conversations you have with Shannon a lot about like the next step outside of the organization? Do you ever talk about like self-promoting and how to grow your profile as well?
I've been very upfront with Shannon pretty much our whole career, and more like the last 2 fights. My record is difficult. Like, I've fought really high level people, but I've also got some losses on there, from just everything, some interesting decisions or whatever. So Shannon was aware that my end goal was to be in the UFC. So she knew that, and she was great. She had no problem with that. She gave me the fights, kept me as active as we could be in that COVID situation. And so when it was time, she allowed me to go. And I just feel like, because my record, I needed to go at the right time. Like, I wanted to be active and to stay busy and fight. But, you also need to be smart about it. And it all worked out, so I was able to fight for the title, defend the title, and make my way to the UFC. And Shannon's been fantastic the entire time.
Yeah, and I always say this, comes up almost every episode, like, stop record watching, people. Like, this is, look into it. Like, look into the record, the names, what stage you were in your career and all that. But, speaking of, like, self-promotion and all that stuff, like, it definitely helps to have a viral knockout, right? So, like, that knockout went around the world. First of all, describe the feeling of knocking someone out in your words.
Yeah, I was really, really happy with that finish, because it's not something that happens all the time. So, like, even if that was the only time I ever do that in my career, like, that's okay. That's a kind of like a one in a career thing. So I'm really, really happy that I was able to get that type of finish and kind of showcase some of my skills. And, attention comes in waves. I'm not really big on like trying to get all this attention, but it was nice to get seen, especially for it being a title fight. And I was really trying to help me get my push to the UFC, put some light on Shannon and Invicta, and just show how many talented people they have at Invicta and stuff. So it all worked out, and it was amazing. And, in that moment, I didn't really understand what was happening in the fight. I just was like, we got to get the finish. Just, don't stop until the ref stops in. So, and then going back and watching it, I understood she was pretty much out on the feet. So it just was crazy. In the moment, I was just like, get the finish, get it done, get this belt. So I'm really happy with how it worked out. And, it's crazy to have that on my career.
Absolutely. I mean, well, you sort of half answered my next question, my follow up, which is like, you know what a viral moment can basically do for your UFC career, right? So is that something that's maybe in the back of your mind a little bit, like, getting a viral moment in the UFC in your debut, maybe?
Yeah, I don't put so much attention on like getting a finish, because then you're so obsessed with the finish that maybe you are hesitant to do anything else. So I'm just going to go and, fight in the moment. And if there's an opportunity for a finish, I will undoubtedly go for it. But, if it needs to be 3 full rounds, then that's what it's going to need to be. But I'm comfortable and I'm confident. And, of course, you always want to finish, just to leave it out of the judges' hands. And to get a finish, finish is much better. But, it's not always possible, especially when you're fighting at the highest level. So I'm prepared for either. And I'm just looking forward to it.
I think that's the right mindset, it feels like. Are you, like, how do you deal with, maybe like two things. First, like in camp, and if you're going through like a rough time, like, because everybody goes through a rough time, it's very mentally challenging, especially if you want to show up as the best version of yourself and like keep outdoing your last performance. And like, what are some things that really sort of ground you or like get you to reset your mind and things or people that inspire you, like?
Yeah, camp is hard for sure, but I really love the lifestyle. Like I said, just the type of person I am. I just love the routine, the schedule. If I don't have a schedule or routine, I just feel really off. So I love living this lifestyle truly. It does sometimes get a little bit overwhelming when you're just, gym. So I've got dogs and I try to go outside, get outside, take a bike ride, take them to the park, do this, do that. We do a lot of dog stuff.
A lot of dog stuff. Yeah.
But
how many do you have?
I've got quite a few. I've got a little pack of rescue pits.
Yeah.
And they're great. They're fantastic dogs. I love bringing them to the gym and just taking them out and about. But so pretty much if it's not gym stuff, it's dog stuff. And that always clears my mind. Just get out, take them out. Yeah, I truly do love the lifestyle.
So a lot of the times people who want that structure are very superstitious as well. So there's like, are there any like locker room sort of superstitions you have before a fight or anything you have to do,
I don't have anything like that where like I have to check off like this list. Yeah. I do like to do similar things, but I do realize that things come up. So you're not always able to get it exactly how it is each time. And that's fine. But I do like to have, some sort of fight day routine where I wake up, get a coffee, get a shakeout and stuff like that. But it doesn't need to be so specific or where I'll get like superstitious about it. But I definitely do like to have, kind of like a similar routine each time.
Good. So what can we expect? Like, what is, July 16th, Jessica Penne, like, what are you expecting from her sort of? And like, do you think at all about her approach or how you think she might come out?
Right. So she kind of came up in Invicta, and I've been watching Invicta for a long time. So I've seen her fight. I'm aware kind of like her style. I do feel like she's like a judo heavy grappling person. But she's not afraid to do any of it. She'll strike if you want to strike. But I do think she will want to hit the ground at some point. And I'm prepared for all of that. So I feel like it's going to be a very well-rounded fight. There will be a bit of everything, I'm sure. And I'm just looking forward to, seeing how it goes, seeing where we end up. And I just want to showcase, a well-rounded, very technical skill set as best I can.
Yeah, that's where I think your last fight against Alicia is like, that was good practice. There's a size difference, but, it's just like takedown heavy game plan. You stuffed all of them. You held your own on the ground. Like, I'm sure that gave you a lot of confidence, right, in this matchup specifically.
Yeah, that the Zapatillas matchup was really interesting because I knew she was just going to shoot the whole time.
Yeah.
So we obviously worked a lot of takedown defense, and that's not always fun, you know. Sometimes you don't want to just be defending takedowns the whole time. So I'm really happy that I was able to not only just defend takedowns, but to land my own offense and really just control everything. So that worked out well. But yeah, you know, it's so easy to go one or two ways, you know. Either you defend it, or sometimes you just get taken down, and sometimes that's a difficult fight, you know, just the wrestling heavy style. If you don't stop the takedowns, you end up, you know, possibly being controlled a lot of the time. So really happy that I was able to do that, and definitely very different, you know, takedowns between the two of them. But yeah, the idea is the same, you know.
That's true. You did have a takedown, right? You did take Alicia down, right? Sure.
Yeah.
Or did you reverse it? Was that?
Yeah, I think I defended it and just kind of popped back up most of the time.
Yeah. Good. Is it what kind of like? Is there any fights that you watch? Like, what kind of combat sports do you watch, if any?
Oh yeah, I watch all the girls' fights for sure. All the UFC cards. Yeah, Invicta. LFA hasn't been putting on very many girls lately, but when they do, I like to watch. Just pretty much like to watch all the high level shows, you know, Invicta, LFA, Bellator.
So it's all MMA.
Yes, I do. I like to watch everybody. Not like in a crazy way where I'm like studying everyone, like, you know, obsessive, but I do like to watch because I love the sport. I love the technique of everything. So any high level technical fighter, I'm definitely interested in watching.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's a lot of fighters I ask, like, do you watch fighting? They're like, I don't watch MMA, but they love to watch boxing, or they love to watch kickboxing and stuff. And I think it says something about a fighter. Like, perhaps this is how you became very well rounded. I mean, you're paying attention to every detail of the game, you know, to deal with all kinds of opponents. Yeah.
It is interesting to me when I hear that some people don't watch fights, and I'm like, yeah, what do you mean?
Like, you do it. Like, come on, have fun.
Yeah.
But a lot of for a lot of people, it's like I hear it's like they just get super anxious and they're like, I want to be in there, and they can't watch it because they can't control their mind anymore. You know, they go crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's is there anything you're looking forward to outside of, like, are you building sort of a career after fighting already right now, or working on your brand and other things you're working on, you know?
I like to take things kind of one step at a time. I try to be as
methodical.
as like present as possible. Sometimes if I jump too far ahead, it's just too much going on, and there's too many factors, you know. You can't plan everything, even though, you know, I would love to do that, but I'm just taking it one step at a time, just seeing where we end up. Really excited to start my UFC career. And as far as after fighting, I don't know what I want to do, but I'm sure it will be jog related. You know, there's some stuff in the jog world that I want to get into and help out with as best I can. So that's pretty much it. That's all I've got on my brain right now, you know, fighting and jog stuff. Nice. And that's about it.
Completely out of fighting. Like, that's it. Like, they're going to separate the two, you know? Like,
yes.
That's good. Yeah, I like it. All right. Well, I'm going to get into some fan questions. There was actually a lot on Reddit, you know? So, and Reddit, people have weird names. So one of them I'm not even going to mention.
Okay.
But the questions, there's some decent questions here. So, _Okluma_. First of all, what's your favorite donuts?
Maple bacon donut from Hertz. Yes.
Jesus, I gotta, you know. Yeah, I'm probably gonna make a move to the States like in September. I'll try to get that, you know. I was actually gonna get a donut. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Easy answer for that one.
Nice. That's very specific. I'm gonna save that. Yeah, I was gonna get a donut, but like I'm sort of like 2 weeks into I'm challenging myself to get back into the best shape of my life. And I'm 2 weeks in right now. I'm like, maybe I should just stay disciplined a little bit.
Yeah, maybe skip the donuts for now.
Skip it, yeah. So I'm with you right there.
Okay.
Revolutionary Roof 556. What would she say is the strongest part of her game?
That's hard. I do love to grapple. You know, I love jiu-jitsu and stuff, but getting more and more comfortable everywhere. So I can't choose. But if I could say, I'd say, you know, just the goal is to be comfortable everywhere.
Good. Yeah. Samuel the God 90. How do you plan on controlling your emotions or nerves? I guess we went over that. You can answer it again.
Just doing what we've been doing the last few years, just feeling really good about that. Fight camp preparation. I end up feeling really just calm and focused on fight day.
Good. Okay. The next one, I'm not gonna name you. You guys can find out who asked this question. If you fight any fighter of all time, who would you pick? I guess if you could.
I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of hard. I don't know.
Yeah.
To answer that, I would just say I wouldn't say no to anybody that was offered. So I always feel like in my career, I've always been offered fights that like I need to take. So any opponent offer, I will definitely say yes. And I'm sure that, one day when I get established, there will be some high level names on that list.
I'll say Rose.
I love Rose.
Yeah. For, respectfully. Yeah. So I guess the next question as well, Elf Fertile says, who is the fighter she's looking forward to fighting next?
Kind of same answer. Yeah. I don't, just one fight at a time. So for now, this is the opponent I'm fully focused on. And then whoever they offer is whoever's next.
No, I have to say I like those answers. Like that answer from fighters who are just getting to the UFC is always the right one. Like I feel like you're in the right frame of mind when you're taking it one fight at a time. And then later on, maybe once you start breaking into the rankings, then you can really start calling people out and like
making matchups and stuff.
Yeah. Just get comfortable with the organization and the atmosphere, and you're gonna be. By the way, you're gonna be fighting in front of fans now. Like, how awesome is that? Yeah. Like, how are you feeling about that one?
Yeah, it's really exciting. When they said New York, I was kind of shocked because they haven't been there in a while, I guess, if at all. So it's really kind of an interesting location, and fans are going to be there, and so I'm excited about it.
Nice. It's just a different kind of thing. For me, even watching those events with fans, it's just a different feel, and I feel like it's more predictable too. Like whoever I think is gonna win wins. Then, of all, Pumpy Front Bum. Okay, of all the girls you've fought so far, who hits the hardest?
Hits the hardest.
Yeah.
I want to say Juliana Lima, maybe.
I thought so. For some reason, like that crossed my mind.
Yeah, she hit me pretty good. She did.
Your answer should have been like, I don't get hit much. I don't know. I thought that was gonna be it.
I've been hit before.
Yeah, you've been hit in the past, in the long time ago.
Yeah.
Ren Wine, 2-part question. Well, actually 2 questions. 1, do you respect Carla Esparza? I guess I would spin this because I'm sure you respect everyone like I do. I guess after that last performance.
Yeah, I do respect all fighters. It takes a lot of mental and physical work to get in the cage. So definitely respect everybody. The last fight was really weird. The Carla and Rose fight. Yeah. I think that was like a 1 in a million chance that a fight like that would play out like that. Yeah. I really doubt that will happen again. Carla's getting a lot of smack about that, but it's not entirely her fault. I think it was a weird thing that happened. And like I said, I don't think that would happen again, especially if she fights anybody else next. If you look back at any of her other fights, there's never really been a fight like that. So yeah. I respect everybody, especially the UFC girls. They're all very high level, very good. And yeah, that was just a very odd thing that happened.
It's like the worst of both, like the worst situation for both fighters. Like,
yes,
we both decided to be reactive to each other. That's,
Yeah. I think that there was a lot of pressure on both because it was a rematch. Sometimes in a rematch, you get kind of like, I think Rose really wanted to win it because Carla had beat her already. Then Carla really wanted to beat her again because she had already beat her. I think there was a lot of pressure going on there. And that's kind of what led to that.
Yeah. And like for Carla, it was so difficult to get that fight, which, it was warranted. She should have got it. And I'm sure it was like, this is my one shot. I had my last shot to become champion, right?
Right.
I do think in the back of her mind, there's also like, let me not get kicked in the face too much when I'm getting married, like in a week, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't fault anyone. If you win the title, you win it.
Yeah. The whole thing was kind of interesting, but I'm looking forward to whatever fight. I don't know if it's Wheelie or whoever, whenever, but I'm looking forward to that for the division to just kind of keep moving, see what happens.
Yeah, people to drop out of the rankings so you can get in there. The next part of the question for him, and then there's one more. Isn't it time to change your name from Gordinia to Shreddinia?
It's funny because a lot of people always ask me what my fight name means, and then they're like, why is it that? But it's just like when I walked into the gym 8 years ago, that my coach gave me that name because I was eating too many donuts and just not really living like a healthy lifestyle at the time. So I got on track and I got everything on track, but I still love food. So the name is fitting. It's going to stay, but I know that it's kind of funky for some people, but it would make more sense if you saw me before and now. But yeah, definitely.
I don't know. Like, I can't imagine you being bigger. Like, this is.
Yeah.
I guess,
just a foodie.
Yeah. We all, like, I get along with foodies. That's great. Notorious hot dog. Okay, so I know you just got engaged, right? Congratulations.
Thank you.
The question is, what's dating like for a women's MMA fighter? So I guess, what was it like?
Yeah. So I've been with my fiance for almost 6 years. So, and he's my coach as well. So we just live a very similar lifestyle. So it's just really easy. He likes structure and routine and schedule just as much as me. So it's not like, total opposites where one's wanting to go out and do this. So it's really easy. We just get along well and kind of just similar goals, similar mindset. And that just makes it so much better.
Good. So yeah, it made sense to tie the knot soon. So
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing the show.
Of course.
You've been great. It was fun having you on. I wish you the best of luck. I'll be rooting for you. So, guys, July 16th, catch Emily Ducote's UFC debut. And
thank you so much.
Have a good day.
You too.
Okay.